Do you struggle to make time for meaningful connections with your kids in the midst of busy life? Do you feel like you want to be more connected with your kids, but you're having a hard time figuring out how to do that? I'm Sarah Mackenzie, a mama of 6, author of Teaching from Rest, a homeschooler's guide to unshakable peace, and creator of the Read-Aloud Revival podcast and online community, where we're dedicated to helping you make meaningful and lasting connections with your kids through books. Today, I want to share with you one of my favorite, simplest tricks to getting more read-aloud time with your kids. Now, read-alouds are my very favorite way to connect with all of my kids, from my oldest, who's 15 and in high school, all the way down to my 3-year-old twins and all the ages in between. It's just the simplest way for me to make a really good, meaningful, and lasting connection with them. It happens through books. So before I share that trick for getting in more read-alouds, I want to make sure that you know our Read-Aloud Revival membership community is open for registration right now, but only for 2 more days. Then it closes, and we won't be opening the doors again until October, which seems like 100 years away, doesn't it? The Read-Aloud Revival membership is our premier offering at RAR. It's where we introduce you to the very best children's book authors and illustrators, where we equip homeschooling parents especially to homeschool more simply and effectively, and where we inspire the whole family to fall in love with books and reading and make those really meaningful connections. We have got thousands of members in there. In fact, I want to pull up this email from someone who just wrote in, Dina. She said, "I've been debating joining RAR for well over a year, and I finally decided to take the plunge. I'm still not sure how much I would actually use it. It's phenomenal. I wish I had joined sooner. The master classes are phenomenal. The author access has opened up a whole new world for my kids, and the entire membership program is an absolute joy." That's awesome. We hear feedback like that all the time, and we are super excited to have membership registration open for just a couple of more days. To find out more, visit rarmembership.com. Membership closes on Thursday, April 6th at 10 p.m. Pacific and won't reopen until October. So go to rarmembership.com to find out more. Okay, so get this. If you were to read aloud for 10 minutes every day, over the course of the year, you would have read for 60 hours. That's a ton, right? But I don't know if you're anything like me. When someone tells me, you need to do something every day, I kind of, because I've already got laundry and dinner and helping my kids with their schoolwork and the sink's overflowing and got to take the kids to the orthodontist. There's a million things to do, right? So anytime I hear someone say you've got to do something every day, I get a little bit weak-kneed about it. But let's be a little more realistic, and let's say 10 minutes every other day. 10 minutes every other day over the course of a year would be 30 hours. You could read the entire Chronicles of Narnia. You could read over 300 picture books. I mean, it's amazing how much you could read in 30 hours. It doesn't take that much as far as, I have to have a half an hour at a time to read with my kids. Most of us can't really find that very easily, but most of us can find 10 minutes. I can find that if I skip folding an extra load of laundry, or if I skip one more time of scrolling on Facebook, or even if I just put the kids to bed 10 minutes later. Now, I don't actually love reading at bedtime. I am pretty sure bedtime stories were not generated with tired women at the end of the day raising their kids, right? The longer the day goes on, the more tired I get. And honestly, bedtime read-alouds are so hard. I'm like holding my eyeballs together. Open. It's crazy. But it's also hard to read aloud earlier in the day if I know I have, let's say, I think, okay, we have 20 or 25 minutes before we need to run out the door to that dentist appointment, or before we need to get started with math. And then I tell the kids it's read aloud time, and they all run around all the different parts of the house trying to get their stuff they want to do while I'm reading. Now, do your kids do stuff while you're reading? My kids always are doing things with their hands while they're reading. It's Legos or drawing or coloring or painting or watercolors or clay, something. And there's a lot of research that supports that kids listen better when they're doing something with their hands. But when I say we're reading aloud in 2 minutes, I want everybody at the table because we only have a little bit of time before we got to move on with the day. So it helps a ton, especially if you have kids who don't rush to read aloud time, or they tend to move at the speed of a sloth. I have a couple of those myself. It helps if you have a read aloud shelf ready. Now, I can't show you the read aloud shelf right here because it's downstairs, and downstairs it's really super loud at my house. But I snuck up here to my bedroom and I brought a few pieces from my read aloud shelf to show you. Let me show you. On my Read Aloud shelf, I have magazine holders just like this. Now, this one's a pretty one. I wouldn't recommend this particular kind. You see, it's kind of flimsy. But you can get wooden ones or plastic ones or metal ones. I've heard IKEA has great ones at a great price. Basically, a magazine holder where you keep things all together and so that you can say, hey, we're reading aloud in 2 minutes and get everybody there. This is the drawing one. So I put a lot of how to draw books in here. Some of our favorite how to draw. I've got how to draw flowers. I love these Ralph Mazziello how to draw books. They're some of our favorites. I love Draw Right Now. So we just have some for older kids in here too. There's like, I have how to draw sports. There's a how to draw faces. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of drawing books. There's some white copy paper. Sometimes I put sketch paper in here if we have it. And then I keep pencils in here. I actually keep them together and I rubber band them because I don't want people sneaking them out of here because they're too lazy to sharpen their own pencil. Your children would never do that, right? Yeah. So anyway, what I can do is I can say, everybody, it's reading and drawing time, and grab your stuff and meet me at the table. And I just plop this down and everybody's good to go. Another thing is coloring. So I'll grab like our big bin of colored pencils or markers or crayons. And I have 2 groups of kids, right? My kids are 15, 13, 11, and then 5, and the twins are 3.5. So I separate our coloring books into the coloring books for the older kids and coloring books for the younger kids. And they each have a bin. This is the one for the older kids. So, you know, we've got these Dover stained glass coloring books. I love these Peterson field guide coloring and sticker books. Those are in here too. These creative, dropped my whole thing. These Creative Haven coloring books are awesome, especially for older kids. So just make sure that you have some like adult coloring books or older coloring books for your older kids. This works really well if you're reading with a wide age span, because you know how it is with little kids. They want to do whatever the older kids are doing, right? And so being able to pull out coloring books, and the older kids have some that they like and the younger kids have some that they like, and you can just put out the coloring things and say, everybody, we're coloring and reading aloud. Meet me at the table in 2 minutes. You're good to go. Really the key is to make a read aloud shelf or drawer or cabinet or a bin, a rubber bin. If you don't have a whole shelf, you can devote to it. And just keep some things like Play-Doh and Play-Doh tools or clay, stickers, chalk and little chalkboards. Anything that you think you can do that would keep your kids' hands busy and keep them engaged while you're reading, keep it all in one spot. Then you can just say, it's read aloud time, grab stuff from your read aloud shelf, and you're good to go. Now, each of my kids also has their own magazine holder. So, for example, my 15-year-old likes calligraphy and hand lettering. And so we have some books that she uses, sketchbook, her nice pens, things like that in her magazine holder. And then she can just grab hers. I can say, everybody grab your own bin. She can work on that while her 11-year-old brother works on his superheroes book he's making. Everybody can work on their own thing. And I can get out stickers and paper for the toddlers. Just getting everybody there quickly and keeping them there longer. That's what a read aloud shelf or a read aloud area, equipment basically does to help you. Now, you don't have to use magazine holders. You could use those stackable trays that you get at an office store. You could just use a big tub, like I said, and put like stamps and ink pads and markers and all the things in there. Wherever in your home it would work for you to keep read aloud things together so you can just grab and go. Now, we are working on a list of read aloud activities that for kids from toddlers to teens, what they can do with their hands. And if you're on our email list, you'll get that as soon as it's ready. If you're not on our email list, you want to do that. So go to readaloudrevival.com and put your name in there. As soon as that list is ready, we'll send it to you. And it's going to be basically a giant idea bank of things that you can do with your kids, ways you can fill out your read aloud shelf or your read aloud drawer with activities so that you can get in more reading aloud. This works so great because then you can get those 10 minutes in without it being like wasting all this time or feeling like read aloud takes up such a huge chunk of your day. It's the most meaningful thing you can do with your kids today, and you can do it in 10 minutes a day and do it well if you just put a little bit of thought on the front end and think of how you can stock up a read aloud shelf or drawer with equipment that will help you do that best. Now, don't miss registration for Read Aloud Revival membership. We're having Tommy DePaula there, right? Later this month on April 18th. I brought it here. Stregonona. Oh gosh, I read this book with my kids earlier today, and it was so funny. This is actually the true story of Tommy when he was a kid, and about when he went to school and you could only have one sheet of paper for art class. This picture, it was just cracking us all up. He was only supposed to use the school crayons, which came in 8 colors, and of course he wanted to bring his 64 pack, so he snuck it in. Hilarious. It's one of those times where I sat down to read to my littlest kids, and then I look up and all my big kids are around me. It was hilarious. It's such a good story. But he's really, truly one of the best children's book illustrators and authors ever. He's coming to Read-Aloud Revival membership. He's going to be live streaming. So he'll be on video live, and kids will be in the chat box and they can type their questions in, and then he'll answer them live on screen. It's amazing. There's opportunities. We do one of these every single month. April 18th is Tommy DePaola, but you can only get into membership if you register by Thursday, April 6th at 10 p.m. Pacific. I don't want you to miss it. Head to rarmembership.com to find out more. And if you're wondering, gosh, I don't know if I'll use it enough, I don't know if I should join, just join anyway. We have a money-back guarantee. If you don't love it, we'll give you your money back. We don't just want your money. We want you to be a part of this beautiful, amazing community of families who are making meaningful and lasting connections with their kids through books. We would love to invite you to join us. Go to rarmembership.com to do that soon. Thanks so much.